about real guns being found in claw machines throughout Japan. Hello everyone and welcome to Stefan's podcast, the only podcast for everything Japanese news and what's going on in the big wide world. Hope you're having a fantastic day. We have got some great news stories for you, so let's jump straight into it. First news story is about real guns being found in claw machines throughout Japan. So the Japanese police at the moment are on the search for these guns. They were found to actually have the same power and the same capability as a real handgun. So Japan are trying to find these, pick them all up, and make sure people don't use them for mischief. They also come with some fake bullets. Now apparently, from what I can understand from reading the news story, the fake bullets aren't the problem. It's the actual gun itself. The gun itself has the same capability to fire real bullets as it does the fake ones that come with it, because it was made almost exactly the same way that a real gun was made. Now, these have been sold throughout Japan, so chances are, if you've gone past a claw machine, you might have actually been able to buy some of these ones. And how these managed to get through the people who make these guns, these toy guns, I have no idea. How they even managed to make it through into the country, I am surprised that they managed to do it, especially in the volume that they made. They made like thousands of these, so it's a serious problem. If you are going around buying stuff in claw machines, in vending machines, watch out, you might actually pick up a real gun. So that's exciting. Our next news story for you, coming from the old Nihon, is apparently your eyes can get sunburnt. I didn't know this at all. I thought everywhere else on your body would get sunburnt, but your eyes are okay. Apparently not. Not in Japan, the place where the UV is higher than hell. Let me tell you this. At the moment, it has been so hot that going outside feels like entering the devil's lair, and it is not fun for anyone. It's not fun for me. It's not fun for you. And if you come to Japan, oh baby, I can assure you this, do not come in the summer. Don't even think about coming in August. July, bad. This is when it's bad. July, bad. August, bad. September, also kind of bad. Getting towards the end, not too bad, depending on where you're visiting. But at the moment, going outside for more than 10-15 minutes is almost impossible. I actually almost considered buying one of those jackets with the fans in that they have here in Japan, but they're pretty pricey actually. So a Japan doctor calls for caution over eye sunburn, and apparently he's asking you basically to wear sunglasses, and if you go out in the day and find that your eyes are very red and sort of irritated, it might be because of the sun. So make sure you carry a pair of sunglasses with you with a UV cut if you're going out in Japan. I didn't even know that this was a thing. I have suffered from some serious sunburns since being here in Japan, but I am yet to ever suffer from my eyes feeling sunburnt. So that's nice. It's just when the April comes around, I feel like my eyes are on fire for a completely different reason, and that's because of the hay fever. Let me tell you something. Everyone loves Japan. Japan does not love everyone, because it tries to find every season whatsoever possible to try and kill you. In the summer, it's too hot. In the winter, it buries you in snow. And in April, it tries to kill you with pollen. There is about a 2-week period in October, November, where Japan is tolerable. Everything else in Japan is just pure murderous hell, and get ready for that. Oh baby, but turns out you can get your eyes burnt. I did not know that. Not fun for anyone. But speaking about not fun for everyone, I think we're going to stick on the weather ones, because I've got a load of news stories on here. We have got Disneyland is down, and the journalist who has put it has blamed it on the extreme heat, and that people don't want to wait in line, they don't want to go to Disneyland because it's just too hot. For example, recently Japan's recorded its highest ever temperature with 106 degrees Fahrenheit or 41.2 degrees Celsius. And let me tell you something, with the UV, it feels like, with the UV and the humidity, it actually feels like UV a billion. So people just don't want to go to Disneyland. They don't want to wait in the line. They don't want to do that. I suspect it's actually other reasons that Disneylands are recording low attendance. One of them will be the Osaka Expo, because every single person that I've spoken to on my little island who is leaving and going to Osaka, that sort of way, or Tokyo even, most of them want to go to Osaka Expo because it's very limited. Very limited. It's only been going to be going on for about, I think, 3 more weeks or 3 more months. It's ending very, very soon. And once that's gone, obviously, bang, it's finished and done. Whereas Tokyo Disneyland is staying around. Also, it is expensive to go to Disneyland. And who wants to spend their money on going to Disneyland? Disneyland is not fun for anyone. I can't think of anyone who it is. You know? You know someone? Disneyland? Nah, not fun. Not fun for me, not fun for the family, just fun if you like sitting in lines. And I personally am not for that. And apparently it's recorded its lowest ever attendance since the COVID-19 pandemic. Very sad. Sad for Disneyland. Sad for a multi-billion-pound corporation. Oh God, I'm going to be crying tears all night for them. Their poor shareholders, what are they going to do? They're not going to get their extra 100 yen bonus. Ugh, sad. But our next news story coming up from the old Big Nihon is... Oh, staying with Osaka Expo. There have been a load of subcontractors who haven't been paid from making some of the overseas pavilions. So looking at the news story, it says that a lot of these contracts to build these exhibitions by companies were subcontracted it out to other people. So the big main contractor was GL Events Japan, and they haven't paid around 20 subcontractors, which is pretty bad. And people are asking the government to basically to force them to pay or to pay them themselves. The government has obviously gone, well, this is nothing to do with us. You better go and contact the main supplier, JL Events, and they're looking at suing them. So if any more comes from this, I will let you know. This is awful, and I imagine the cost of these stalls will be astronomically expensive. If I know anything about exhibitions and prices of stands, they are 10 times more than what you think. Years and years ago, I used to do the NEC Birmingham for a lot of diving stuff, and when you find out how much it costs to have a stand at any of these events, ooh baby, it is expensive. And I can only imagine how much this GL Events have charged each individual company to have, each individual country to have a stall, and the fact that it's subcontracted it out to people. I just think there is mischief going on here. A few people in the comments of the news article said that the subcontractors should go round now and start taking apart the stands, because the second the expo ends, let me tell you, people are going to disappear. And I have to say, I completely agree with them, because apparently, in the article it says 2 months. 2 months left of Osaka Expo. So if you're going to go soon. It also, I was very sad, the news article doesn't say which stands haven't been paid for. I want to know which countries have been cheapskates. But it wouldn't be the country's fault. It'd probably be GL Events Japan who haven't paid. And apparently the attendance of Osaka Expo has reached the minimum tickets that it needed to for the event to be considered successful. So, we'll see. We will see if people think that's good or not. But we should move on to our next news story for you. Do you know what? I'm going to close one of these. I don't know why I've got 2 tabs open like the silly little goose I am, when all I need is one to look at the news stories. Next one is the saga continues. This has been one of the news stories that I think I made in one of my first ever news stories about podcast, is the Mount Fuji view, which I do not understand at all. It doesn't make any sense to me why people want to go and see this view. I think there are far better places to take pictures in Japan, but hey ho. About a year ago, over a year ago, May 2024. In May 2024, there is a Lawson's which behind it has a nice view of Mount Fuji. And people have been going to this spot, and I think it was in Yamanashi Prefecture, and taking pictures of this. But because so many people have been going to this small countryside town to take these pictures, the government decided to put up a barrier to stop them. And this barrier has been plagued with all sorts of problems. One of them's got holes in the barrier. They then replaced it with another one. They are now replacing it with an even different barrier because lorries were having issues getting in and out of it, and they are also putting up preventative measures to stop people jaywalking and taking pictures of it. This is such a Japan-only story. I feel like if the government didn't interfere with this spot and try and cover it up in the first place, people would have stopped caring about this place, because to me, it's not the most Japan thing in the world. I just think this spot is just pointless. There's hundreds of Lawsons and Family Marts scattered all around. Surely if you want to get a picture of Mount Fuji in the background, if you hunt around all the towns that encircle Mount Fuji, you'll get the same picture. So why you're going to this one, I don't know. It is funny to me that the Japanese government have probably spent more on some school salaries than building these barriers that they have spent, because they've got to have cost a pretty penny. They built one which was like a mesh, and people were poking holes in it and then taking pictures. So it was a pretty useless barrier. And I just think this is the biggest waste of Japanese time which I have ever seen. Awful waste of money. But there we go. Our next news story is going to be focused on AI, baby. Yes, it is. So there's a lot of people moving to Japan. I say a lot, not astronomically high, but if you read the newspapers or anything in Japanese news at the moment, it makes it out to be 10 times more than what it is. But there we go. And a lot of these people have children. They have children, and their children don't necessarily speak the best Japanese, or they speak no Japanese, and then they get thrown into a Japanese high school, and their support for Japanese learning is pretty much zero. But they're trying to fix this, and the way that they have decided to fix it is with AI. And they are introducing generative AI for effective teaching methods for teaching Japanese to these foreign students. And among other things, I will say the news story has very much focused on just the AI stuff, but they also are saying they are increasing their budgets to hire a language instructor and support staff that can help them with this problem. The main problem that I have seen, possibly, is that some of the support staff don't necessarily speak the best English in the world if they're coming from an English country. If they're coming from, let's say, Spain, Argentina, and don't speak English, I think they are going to really struggle to find the support staffs that can actually help them. And this is where generative AI is probably good, because they can help them more than anything else. I do have a small problem with using generative AI without an actual teacher, because I just think, what's the point of them going to school if they are just learning from the AI, the computer? As a teacher, I kind of think, well, you got to make the kids want to come to school and got to be with a person. If they're just learning from AI, why have schools in the first place? Why not just leave them at home? I am generally surprised with what school support staff have as support staff's English ability. I have actually found some of the best English-speaking people are the support staff in the school. And this is not because that they have taught English speakers to become Japanese speakers, not at all. They just a lot of them come from, they didn't want to get into teaching in high school and they got into teaching later in life. So maybe they did other things, they studied different subjects, and most support staff have actually very good English. And I've been surprised at every junior high school that I've taught at, when these people start pulling out these phrases in English, and I'm like, you should be the English teacher here, not this other guy. Your English is fantastic, absolutely fantastic. They also bring in, for some of these support staff, teachers who have sort of retired and then come back into teaching. So it will be a lot of women who maybe went off and they had children and they've come back into teaching 10 years. They've come back into teaching after 10 years. So there's one at my school who used to be an English teacher, I think, and her English is spot on, absolutely fantastic. Probably one of the best, if not the best, actual English speakers that I've spoken to in my time in Tsushima, because of the English teachers that I've spoken to, they are good, they are competent, but sometimes they're not native level. I think it's safe to say they are good, perfect for teaching the level that they're teaching off. Are they native level? Not always, certainly not. But that's teaching English in Japan, and AI to teach Japanese kids with foreign roots. I don't know how I feel about it. I think a little bit of AI in the classroom is good, as long as it's taught with a teacher. If it's not taught with a teacher, then it's useless. If you just have a teacher who can't speak the language that the person is native to, I honestly think you are just wasting both of your time. And they really need someone who speaks, if it's Spanish, they need someone who speaks Spanish to teach them Spanish into Japanese and then go from there. You can't just teach them, you can't just throw Japanese at them and hope that they learn it. That's my opinion, and that's me living here for 3 years and not having a Japanese teacher for a long time. I didn't have a Japanese teacher for about 18 months of living here because I couldn't find one in Tsushima. And having all this AI is very good, but you need someone who can effectively test you and make sure that you understand what's going on, because AI is not the best at that, and I feel sorry for any kids who is just using AI. But sticking with AI, maybe these girls are the future. Fukuoka recently had a AI championship where high school students could go around and make cool things with AI, and a team of all women managed to come top of the Fukuoka championship. And this club of what they called AI Club is in an all-girls high school in Fukuoka Prefecture, developed an app that automatically summarized study materials, and that project earned them the honors at the National AI Championship. That is crazy, right? 17 and they're already winning competitions for AI championships. These girls are geniuses, let me tell you. They are smarter than me, and how anyone can do this at their age, I have no idea. So what their app that they designed is basically you can take your notes for like an English class or something, take a picture of it, and it will summarize all the notes that you've made and put it into all sorts of useful informations that you can use to learn. And I think that is very, very clever, especially if it can fill in blanks in your notes and give you more detail. That is very, very cool. The only problem I maybe have with this is it stops kids taking notes effectively, because they stop learning how to do it and they just end up using AI. But this is cool. This is cool that the girls are doing it. I haven't seen this app and how it works. I don't know. Sorry. They've made one that is in English, but hey, maybe in the near future I will learn all about this app. I'm very excited about this. I think it is very, very cool, and they are geniuses for doing it. But our next news story coming up for you is onion rot. Would you believe it? I had this last night. I was cooking a keema curry, and in keema curry you have onions. And in one of the new onions that I bought, I chopped it open, and one of the middle sections of the onion was rotting. None of the other sections were rotting at all, and I was like, well, this is weird. So we chopped out the rotting onion, and then the next day, I've come to find that it's an actual disease that onions can get, and what you need to do if you face this. So the problem with this onion that you can get in Japan is called scale rot, and one of the middle center rows will become rotten, and it's just like a disease that the onion gets. Too much moisture and bacteria in the soil causes it to get this rotting inside of it, which is really interesting. And what you can do is completely safe to do what I did and just cut out the rotten ring and throw it away and wash the rest. But if the ring has spread to too many rings, then it is safer to chuck it away and give up and eat a new onion. But I didn't even know that this was a thing, that onion rot was in the world. And the fact that I had it yesterday and then it was on Bang, one of the front covers of the Mainichi News. I was going, oh my god, this happened to me. I am a botanist. I understand everything about vegetables now. I am a genius. So if you're in Japan and you buy an onion, be careful it doesn't have onion rot. The worst thing about it is you can't really even tell if it has onion rot until you buy it, because you have to crack open the onion, check out all the layers to find the one that you want, and pray that it doesn't have onion rot. I will say, of the onions that I bought, only one of them had the rot inside of it. So very, very good. Not the end of the world with that. I did manage to have a nice keema curry. And Japan's curries, if you haven't had them, oh, delicious. Those little roux packs that they have, I probably have one of those once a week because they are absolutely delicious. And they're so easy to cook once you get the hang of it. They are awesome. Now, I've got 2 more news stories coming up for you. Oh, this is an interesting one about summer. I don't know if you've tried them. In Japan, they have a load of these like wet wipes that you can put on, and a lot of them have menthol inside of them. And when you put them on yourself, they feel so refreshing, so cooling, and they have like this tanging sensation to it that's really, really nice. But apparently these can increase the risk of heat stroke, because that like tingling sensation you get from the menthol when you rub it onto your skin actually masks some of the symptoms of heat stroke. So they are warning people to be very careful when using these, and to make sure that if you do use them, that you drink water, stay in the cold, and don't let them completely take over your life, because it is a little bit dangerous. And heat stroke in Japan is no joke, let me tell you that. It is not fun for anyone, it's not fun for you, and it isn't fun for me. But our final story of the day is about foreign workers who are possibly being accused of working for companies that are mistreating them. So the Japan's agency is looking into people who come to Japan and work for like an agency who get sent to all different places. They get sent to different companies to work because they are being stated as not working in the field that they are here to work in. So say you come here as an engineer, you get an engineering, you're here on an engineering license, something on that. You then go and work for one of these agencies. Well, one of these agencies might send you out to do something like translation, menial office work, where you're not actually doing the thing that you're purposed to do here. And the government aren't liking this for a couple of reasons. The fact that the workers aren't happy that they're not coming here for the reason that they're meant to be here for. And the other one is the government wants people who are on these visas just to stick in these fields. And I think it's sort of a waste. I wish the Japanese visa system, and even here as a teacher, was a lot more flexible. I kind of wish that, yes, you come on a teaching visa, you have a license to teach, but you can then go into anything after being here. And then if you find a job somewhere that you like, then you should stick with that one. But that's not how it works. In theory, you're meant to come on these visas, and depending on which one you're on, you're meant to stay within that field. You can move around different companies, but they like you to stay in that sector. And if you don't, it can cause a load of problems with the visa. But people on these agencies are just getting sent to anything. They'll do translation work, they'll do menial office work, they might be being an engineer and working as a day labourer, which they don't particularly fancy. So what is the solution for it? They want less agency work, and it is a bit of a problem in Japan when you start looking at jobs that a lot of places don't want to hire people long term. They only want to hire them for short-term contracts, and that's where these agencies are starting to take a little bit of advantage, and it's ending up with a lot of people coming here, I think, and being on very, very low salaries. We're seeing this in teaching especially. There are, all these companies that send out ALTs or English teachers over to different schools, and their salary is very, very, very low because of it. Of course, first of all, the company is taking a cut of your salary, and then during like the summer months, you're not even getting paid for those summer months, which I just think is awful. So I am not a fan of these agencies in any field. I don't like agencies. I think they are not the best to work for. I worked for one for 2 years, and I just stayed in one company because for some reason they didn't have the headcount for a new person, but instead they just paid my salary for 2 years, and they had someone who had been working there for 10 years under this system, and I never understood the logic behind it. It didn't make any sense to me. But there we go. Agencies, I don't like them. But the Japanese government are looking at possibly cracking down on these. So if you are coming to Japan to work and you're thinking about moving here, just be careful what agency or what place you work for, because if you do end up working for these agencies, you can, I think, get taken advantage of a little bit. They will send you to some of the weirdest places in the world. They will send you on jobs that you're not meant to be doing, and you'll do all sorts of different things. If you're here on an engineering visa, you shouldn't be doing, a big one in the news article was like translation work. You should not really meant to be doing that, but I could see that being somewhat in the scope if you're translating like engineering documents. But I don't know. Not for me to say. I think it would be much better if the Japanese government just let you come to Japan. You are here on a teaching visa, but you can go and do anything. And maybe there should be a requirement that you work in that field for a year or two, and then you can sort of branch out, because I think Japan loses a lot of talent because people cannot diversify as easily. That's in my opinion. But hey ho, we shall see how that news story ends up. But I think that's the end of our news stories for today. So we just got what's going on with me. I'll tell you one thing that's going on with me is apparently I can't use a computer today, but there we go. Yeah, that's the end of the news stories for today. Just what's been going on for me. Well, I had a lovely weekend. I got to play a bit of futsal. I got to see some bits of Kyoto. I got to relax. It was very nice. I played futsal for the first time ever. That's a very fun game, and I recommend, if you're into football, giving it a go. The ball being a lot harder is something I wasn't used to. I've got a giant bruise on my back from playing it, where I was in goal and turned and the ball went straight into my back. Managed to save the goal, so that was nice. For some reason, I played it on 2 separate occasions, and on the first one, couldn't score any goals until maybe I was 3 or 4 games in. And the second time I played it, also couldn't score a goal in the first 2 or 3 games. And then after that, goals were coming left, right, and centre. I was scoring them bish, bang, bosh. They're flying in easily. And I have no idea why that is. I am a second half player at best. I am not a starter. You'd put me in as a late minute substitute, a game changer. But maybe I need the time to warm up. I don't know. But futsal was very fun. Made me realise a lot of things that I'm missing living in Tsushima. The fact that I can't just go and do random sports like that. I can't go and play a futsal. I can't go and do this. I can only play badminton once a week on a Wednesday. We don't have any other sports clubs here in Tsushima that I'm aware of. I think possibly there's a basketball one, but that is over like a 30 minutes or an hour drive away, so a little bit too far for me to go during the week. But yeah, maybe realise I'm missing out on a few things living here, and I felt a little bit sad about it. I want to experience all of Japan and everything, and sport is one thing that I'm really missing. Someone told me today we're getting a new store opening up in Tsushima. They said it was like they didn't tell me what the store is. They just said it was a fast fashion one. So I was like, okay, what store is that? If it's a Uniqlo, sweet, I'd like one of those. But would like to have a movie theatre here. I've missed seeing movies. I certainly have. Although, did I go to the cinema? I think this is one of the first times I've left Tsushima and I've not gone to the cinema just because I ran out of time. I did get to watch a football game, which was very nice. I got to watch... who did I watch? Osaka Celeste versus Niigata. It was a very good game. Osaka Celeste won, which is awesome, and Niigata didn't win. Very sad, Sabashi. But it was a great game, very, very fun. I enjoyed watching that, got a little bit drunk watching the game. But hey ho, that is watching football in Japan. You get to drink while in the stadium, which I think is a lot of fun. And speaking of fun, that is it for the fun today. I'm going to end the video here. If you managed to make it this far into the video, be sure to like and subscribe, and I shall see you in the next one. Have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day and rest of your week, and like and subscribe. Goodbye.